Hey D4Bers, David here, how are you? Welcome to this special edition of Disney for Brits, where I give you an inside take on the recent staycations on the Disney Magic. I was lucky enough to take one last weekend and took lots of pictures and videos to share with you. Three things different about this episode. Number one, you've got a different view of me. You can see behind me the studio that I use to make all of these videos and share all these great things with you. Number two, this is what we got when we came on board. You'll see over my shoulder, you'll see Captain Minnie and Captain Mickey welcoming us on board as part of the welcome show. And number three, I actually took the main part of this video on board, so because of the COVID protocols, you'll see me wearing a mask whilst I sit outside the amazing Walt Disney Theatre. Hopefully I've done some magic with the sound and you can hear me okay, but I wanted to take advantage of that amazing setting to actually record some hints, tips and ideas for you. So here we go, everything you need to know about UK staycations on the Disney Magic, here on this episode of Disney for Brits. Welcome to this special episode of Disney for Brits. As you heard from the intro, slightly different view of the studio today, and during this video you're going to be hearing me talking through a mask. I've done some magic with the sound, so hopefully you can hear everything, and I've interspersed it with pictures and videos of everything that happened on the Disney Magic. It was an amazing experience, and if you haven't already done so, I'd thoroughly recommend that you do book it. Please think about doing so through my travel agency, pointing to the right corner, D4B Travel, which you'll find me on Facebook, and also through the Disney for Brits website at www.disneyforbrits.com. And also please like and subscribe to the channel. Please share this with other people. We're over 1,000 viewers now. Really excited about that. I'd love to help more and more people. So let's go on board the Disney Magic as I hand over to me. Over to you, David. Hey D4Bers, David here. Welcome to another episode of Disney for Brits. As you can see this time, I'm not only masked up, but I've also got the man himself, Walt Disney, behind me. I'm actually recording this live on the Disney Magic as part of their UK Staycation tours. On this episode, I'm going to give you 13 reasons why you need to be on this cruise and the things that you need to remember when you're coming on board or on board the Disney Magic. Number one, before you come on the cruise, one of the things you need to remember is these. You're going to be masked up most of the time when you're inside the ship, when you're in any of the shops or in any of the restaurants. The only time you'll be taking the mask off is when you're outside or you're actively eating and drinking inside in a restaurant on a bar. So make sure you take a couple of these, make sure they're comfortable because you're going to be wearing them a lot. Similarly, make sure you'll be washing these all the time. There's hand sanitizer everywhere. Cleanliness is hugely important on a cruise ship, and even more so now than ever before. So make sure you follow the rules and don't be the person that the cast members have to say, please put your mask on, please wash your hands. So let's talk about the things that you need to do before you come along, as well as following everything that's on the Disney Cruise Line app. That'll tell you everything you need to know. There's things you need to pack, so there's some good things you can pack. You can pack up to 2 bottles of wine or champagne per adult. Yes, 2 bottles of wine or champagne per adult. Make sure you either get the screw top cap type, or if you've got champagne, bring yourself one of those little stoppers in case you don't want to use it all in one go. You will have a fridge in your room, so take advantage of that and save yourself some money while you're on the cruise. And that 2 bottles per person is allowed by Disney. Just make sure it's in your hand baggage. The other thing you need to do while you're at port is sign up for Wi-Fi. You get 50 meg for free, and there comes the announcement, so I'm going to stop. So as you can hear, it's getting a bit noisy here, but don't worry about that. I've got great things to tell you, and I'm sure you'll be able to hear through it. One of the things you need to think about when you're coming on the cruise is going through security, and this can take a long time. As part of coming on board, Disney are really hot on all the COVID principles, and therefore what they're doing is making sure that you have tests before you actually board. This can take between an hour and 2 hours. There's a lot of queuing, so take some things to keep your kids happy, take some things to keep yourself entertained. You're going to be doing a lot of waiting, a lot of queuing from one queue to another queue queue to another queue until you finally get that text on your mobile phone that says you're okay to board. And then guess what? You join another queue. But this is for the announcement of you coming on board so that Mickey and Captain Minnie and Captain Mickey can welcome you on board the ship. One of the other things that's worth doing before you leave is signing up to Disney Wi-Fi. You get 50 megabytes for free. There are plenty of things you can do on board that don't need Wi-Fi, and you certainly don't want to get any massive data charges. So find out how to do that. Sign up. It's on your Navigator app. Sign up on that before you come on board, and then turn everything off and just use their Wi-Fi on board. Make sure you're on airplane mode, and that'll save you spending lots and lots of money, but you get your free 50 megs. As part of that, it's really worth making sure your phone is ready to come on board. I've noticed that Facebook doesn't work, Twitter does work, my banking apps do work. Disney don't want any reason for you not to spend your money with them. So Messenger also works, and by Messenger I mean iMessage and text. So make sure that anything you want, any contacts you want are in text or iMessage so that you can use them on Wi-Fi. Don't rely on Facebook. Facebook doesn't seem to work on board. Another thing to think about is your charging. Make sure your devices are fully charged before you get to the port. If you need to charge them up, there are mains ports in the port. So make sure you've got UK adapters and UK cables to do that, your USB cables. In your room, you'll find there are plenty of USB chargers. I counted 4 in ours. Otherwise, it's US sockets, so make sure you've got a US to UK socket adapter. Don't panic if you don't have it. They have got them on board. You can borrow them from guest services. So make sure that you've got everything you need to make that boarding experience as smooth as possible. Once you're on board, you meet Captain Mickey, you meet Captain Minnie, you get introduced to them, have a welcome, and then you're off. You'll find your room keys on your room door and go and explore and have some food and get on and book all the things that you want to do. If there were things that you couldn't do before you came on board because they were saying they were sold out, hop straight to guest services on level 3, on deck 3, and see if you can book spots for those. They're really good, and certainly there were things that we couldn't do beforehand that we got availability for. So we've got champagne testing and tasting tonight, which is going to be fun. So look at getting those. Go to guest services on deck 3 to book things you couldn't do before. Okay, so now you're on board. What are the things that you need to know when you're on board? Firstly, there's going to be characters everywhere, and when you sign up for quizzes and competitions and trivias, quite often characters will appear at the end, so stay till the very end. You don't want to be the one that drags you, your partner or your kids away just as Captain Mickey appeared. We had that and had an amazing experience with Pluto and Captain Minnie, so definitely worth doing there. The next thing to consider is at the restaurants. In the restaurants, you will scan a barcode and you'll get your menu, but you can eat what you want. If you want 3 starters, no main courses and 2 desserts, you can do that. If you want a starter, a soup, a main course and a dessert, and then another dessert, you can do that as well. So you can have whatever you want while you're actually in the restaurant. So just ask your server, they're going to say yes. And if there's something that's not on the menu that you fancy, something lighter, the table next to us last night had a young child that was only wanting to eat pasta and cheese. That's fine. They went and got her pasta and cheese. So ask your server and they'll get you what you need. Next one to consider, you'll probably hear around me now, it's quite noisy. The ship is a busy place, even at lower reduced capacities for these UK tours. If you want to go somewhere quiet as an adult, there's a place on deck 9 in the adult area. Yes, there's an adult area called the Cozy Cafe. The doors open, you go inside, the doors close, and it's quiet. It's quiet and warm. You can get coffees. There's some cheeky little pastries if you fancy a little bit of food, although if you've had a breakfast like I've had, that's not something you're going to be after. But it's just a really lovely place to go and sit and relax. So Cozy Cafe, deck 9 in the adult area. Also on the adult area, the jacuzzis are really lovely and hot, and if there's a little bit of sunshine, and frankly even if there isn't, get yourself up to those jacuzzis and give yourself a little bit of warmth while you're enjoying the sun or the wind or the rain or whatever. So a couple of other things to consider. You're going to do a lot of walking. We're walking around 4 miles a day on the ship, so make sure you take a change of shoes and you've got some comfortable things to wear during the day. In the evening, I wasn't sure whether people did actually dress up for dinner, and they do. The majority of people will dress up for dinner. So if you're comfortable with not doing that, don't. But if you want an opportunity to dress up, do so. The waiters love it, the restaurant staff love it. Adults and children dressing up for dinner, it just makes it feel a whole nicer experience. So if you want to wear those gowns that you've not been able to wear for a couple of years, or your suits or your special blazers, go on and do it. It's an amazing experience and you're going to feel great wearing those clothes. So a few people have asked me when you see characters, and the answer is pretty much everywhere. There's character meet and greets in the main area. I'm going to come on the ship, the main atrium. As I've mentioned before, you'll see them around after trivia game shows and competitions. I had an interaction with Minnie and Pluto when they were just having a stroll outside on the promenade, and that was fun to see. And Pluto even climbed the stairs on all fours, just interacting with them, moving chairs around for Minnie. So the answer is pretty much everywhere. If you're after Marvel characters, they tend to be on day 2, where it's Marvel morning, and we saw Captain America, Thor, Black Widow. I nearly said Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman called out and said, "Wonder Woman." She said, "No, it's Captain Marvel, actually," but in a nicer way than that. So your Marvel character is around on day 2. 2 more things really. Number 1, if you're a group, the staff cannot take photos for you, so have a selfie stick. If you've got a selfie stick, you can take a picture in front of you with all of your grouping and the characters. The staff cannot take pictures for you. You can always ask somebody to do that for you. And the final thing really, after all of this, is just relax and have fun. This is a holiday, there's lots going on. Don't feel you need to go to every single activity. Don't feel you need to go every show. Don't miss out on the shows. The shows are amazing. And I just did some sums in my head when I was thinking of the value for money for this cruise. And if you think you'd be paying £60 to £80 a ticket for the actual theatre shows, your meals are £50, £60, £80 a time. By the time you've worked out everything, this cruise is really great value for money. You're going to be surrounded by Disney fans. There's characters everywhere. It's definitely something worth doing. So if you were thinking about doing a Disney cruise staycation, I'd absolutely suggest you do it. This is day 3 and we're having an absolute blast. The staff are incredible. It's a whole new experience. The captain's doing a brilliant job of finding the sun for us. It's not been very rocky at all. So it's definitely an amazing thing to do. I recommend you do it. And if you want a travel agent to help you do that, don't forget to check me out at D4B Travel. Check out the rest of my videos at Disney for Brits, and you'll find me on Facebook at D4B Travel and Disney for Brits. And I'm off to go and see a show in a few minutes, so as our pal Mickey says, I'll see you real soon.